Hey, welcome back to the Sons of Saul development livestream. Wrong character. So last time we were persisting characters and kills through saves, like going into a mission, coming back to the carrier here, pilot bar there. Although we were mostly looking at the room, but just in case you don't recognize it, it's the same scene. We were kind of working out of there more. And we did discover a bug last time, but then I couldn't replicate it, so we'll see if it comes up today. It was if we quit the game from in a space mission, not from in the carrier, then some of the information wouldn't come back correctly. I think that I didn't go to fix it immediately. I said I'd do it after the stream, and I think that some of the other work I did solved it without deliberately tackling it. So we'll see if we'll keep an eye out for it. Since Monday, today's the Thursday stream. So since Monday, kind of said I wouldn't, and then did anyway, go with loading a dozen characters into the scene. There's like a dozen, they're not displaying anywhere, but they are in the scene, a dozen characters. You and all your wingmen are loaded in the scene, and they all carry their relevant information, like their experience, their kills. So since last time, I've just decided to load a dozen of these rather than just keeping it to a list, and there were reasons. The thing is that it's going to grow to more than a dozen, but there's very little. While there's a bit of animation going on each of them, it's not very taxing, and I could later just disable animations by default and then deliberately call animation on the ones I want. So I'm not too worried about the scene being able to handle it or anything. I thought it would be an inefficient way to do it, but I decided to do it anyway because of other reasons. Basically to do with keeping more code in one place on the character script. I think it was 2 episodes ago. Actually, I think it was last episode and the episode before I mentioned using EasySave2 plugin to save a spreadsheet. That you can input values to, but that EasySave2 can't load it back up, and that I would see if I could find a way to load the info back. So this is using EasySave2 to save and using a hack on the Fungus plugin, just some of its functionality kind of copy pasted into a new place using some of its tools to load a spreadsheet back. I've got rid of the lines I needed. This function right here uses EasySave2 to save a spreadsheet, and yeah, in the spreadsheet I just put in the column, row, and number for a few rows and numbers just to show it, just to put some data in that's different. Compiling. So here's, we're saving everything we're saving using EasySave2 to a string, very long string, and then we load it back in, and we've been looking at that in all the recent episodes, like parsing the data into the relevant sections and taking the relevant info from it. And I was thinking, would it be handy to save it to a spreadsheet and load that info back in, but I couldn't load it back in. So if I save a spreadsheet, it's happening now, but there isn't yet a spreadsheet. So I've tried this where I'll use my new loading technique to sort of generate the spreadsheet, save all the character data, and then load it back in more or less straight away. Except the spreadsheet still hasn't been created. Will be, Hasn't been yet. Or if I just have to wait or trigger it, but it creates the resources folder and the spreadsheet. Now Unity seems to have found it, but it wasn't instantaneous or anything. So there's a spreadsheet, has all the rows and columns data there. Actually, if in cell 5.5 I just say hello world, I don't think I've ever actually written hello. It's a very common programming thing to write. I don't think I've ever used it as an example before, but now I have. So if I go to grid 5.5, and if I tell it to print the value there, I can get out the hello world value, and that isn't in the project, it's in the resources folder of, well, it's in an external spreadsheet. So while I could use this method to store a lot of data, basically put all the fighters and all their stats and help stats and even mission text, and I could put everything in this. But I can't encrypt it. EasySave 2 can encrypt, but for me to load it back in using Fungus, I can't decrypt it right now. Which means that when I save it out, it's going to look like this, and anyone could open it up and modify the game. Now, I'm not against mods or anything, but I think that's a problem for certain things like achievements and just not sure how much achievements really matter. But I presume you shouldn't be allowed to just go in spreadsheet and unlock the achievements, or just make yourself invincible and then go get the achievement, stuff like that. So thinking forward, I don't think it's a good place to hold certain types of data, but this is a perfect way to mod. To actually make parts of the game moddable. So what I could do is generate ship type, health, dodge skill, weapon type, and that maybe all the standard ones are in the game, but anyone wanted to mod, I could put in like 1 or 2 example ships here, like just by default they're not, these aren't going to be used in the game, but if I have a spreadsheet in the folder that people can come to, this would be one way to mod it. There are other ways to mod it that are more... You can go to any Unity game. I've seen a tutorial recently and sort of unzip it and change things. You can open it up in your own version of a Unity editor. It's a little advanced, but it's not hard, but people would have to look for how to do it. But if you wanted the game to be like super moddable, just go to the file and change things, like the new Xcom was. You just go into an INI file and change things, and they're not encrypted or anything. You just open them and change values. Or if that disables achievements, actually look into that. But essentially, if they wanted to make an example ship, you just set this to true, and that the game would read their modded ship with its health of 1,000, whatever, they're allowed to do that. But maybe if any of these values are true, achievements are disabled. I don't know. It's just an option to use spreadsheets instead of long strings to save data, but it's not going to be great for saving data because it's too accessible, but might be good for mods. That's a thing. Where are we? Save a spreadsheet game. Running, yeah, said that. Okay, so I have made a memorial wall to a degree. I've also made it so that characters know if they're dead or not. So if I generate a new campaign, at the moment I'm not open. the moment when I generate a new campaign, I'm just deliberately saying, if you'll remember, I was putting in my own name for the first pilot. I've also made 2 of the AI ships dead, and one of them has some kills. 3 kills. So there are 12 pilots including the player, but when I go to the briefing screen, it won't display dead ones. So we've only got 10. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it's actually still 1 because I didn't generate a new campaign. I just opened the old one. But anyway, there's 10 of them. He has some kills, the player doesn't. The player can go in and get some kills. Set my build settings, what scenes are in. So another thing I did was I have a mute music button that I keep having to remember to turn back on when I make demos, and I just made it so that it checks if you're in the editor, then it allows you to mute music, but if you're not in the editor, it ignores the mute. Did I need? Okay. So we can track player kills now. Oh, I think I also must have changed those icons on that screen from the A and B icon to some of the ones Fred made for this. So I should have 3 kills after this. I think I mentioned this last episode, but I also made it that the AI can't shoot if they're dodging. I thought about just making it so that bullets couldn't hit you if they were dodging, but then you'd wonder why some bullets hit you and some don't, so it's clearer to just make it that they can't shoot while dodging because they're just moving erratically and they wouldn't hit anything anyway, so they don't fire. So that should result in the AI getting killed and getting less kills. And that's a bit of a complaint, that your wingmen are too good. But other times the wingmen die too easily, so I want to just have them... I would like it where the AI is pretty evenly matched and they last a long time until the player comes and gets involved. That's kind of the goal. That's a step in the right direction. If we look at this now, we're on day 1 and the player has 3 kills now. I'll go back to the main menu. Sorry. And if I continue that campaign, I still have saved 3 kills for the player. The other guy still has 1. And the pilot memorial, so that 2 that are dead will show up here in a very similar way at the moment. Just text reads their call signs, puts them up here. Gone but not forgotten. I don't know, that could say anything. Placeholder text, and that's their kills, but more likely would display the day they died, like how they died, that kind of thing. Also, when I might notice there, when I zoom in on the screen, there's a bit of a hole opens up in the floor there. So we just need to make that sprite larger. But another thing, the main lamp here, the big white ball, that actually winds up being completely in the way here, so I had to fade that out as we move in. And you wouldn't really notice. But it's actually still in front of the camera, it's just gone invisible. So, anyway, that's what's happened since the last time. The last time we had this 3 dots here and 3 dots here. This was all, whoops, all one sentence. We were going to do all this. Modification on this now. Once we had all those 3 lines done, was just a way we were going to actually get rid of some of these tasks. I think we've actually fully done one of them. No, enemy deaths we still have to say. Yeah. So what I did do is make the player a character put that player in the scene and save the player's kills. So that's done. Take the kills from a global enemy number. That's what we're going to do now today. Is for save how many fighters. I'm going to save a lot of different types of ships, but for now we're just working with fighters. Save how many the enemy has in total. And then subtract from that number when we kill them. As well as saving that information and loading it correctly. Increase global number of factory. And yeah, and a modification on that was that one of the... Well, then the next step on that, I suppose, is that one of the locations on the strategic map here actually be a factory. It's meant to be that icon, fighter icon, although it would be blue, the blue version of that. That it produces like +3 fighters every day or something. So yeah, we'll make it so that they have 100 fighters and they're getting +3 per day. The best way to do that is put and that it also subtracts the ones you kill. So let's get to it. First, scripts that I don't need. The scripts, it's untested, but the way it's set up right now, it'll also, even though the player's the only one who's going into the missions at the moment, it would also save the wingman kills or the wingman deaths. They're just not yet loading them in the scene. Here. It should be ready to go once we get there, kind of thing. Where should I save? Obviously now there's going to be a lot of info to save, not just a number of enemy fighters, but there should be a load of information about what's in the sector and how well the enemy are doing generally and where they are and stuff. So there's going to be a lot of information. And it won't be a case of this is chapter 1, so the information is always like this. It's going to be generated on the fly. So it needs to be saved intelligently. I can't just like save it to a scene and let that be okay forever and load that scene. I have to generate it logically and save it accurately and load it back well. Or accurately. I don't know why you use the word well. I have to load it back perfectly accurately. I have to load it back perfectly. Anyway, where are we going to save? Campaign save and load script. At the moment, it's more responsible for saving and loading. There's the one thing it keeps is what day we're on. Like I could make it so the campaign save and load script holds all the campaign. But it might just get a bit cluttered. Script for against. Home base manager. Not really holding that kind of data either. It kind of holds references to things to turn on and off rather than how we're doing strategically. Campaign save and load. I've actually put them into many screens, many scenes, not screens. We seem to get messages on Slack. Oh, I forgot to close like all the normal programs. Team wasn't open. That's okay. This is in other scenes. I know it's in the main menu scene at the moment. And I think it's in the empty. Oh no, I think it's not. See? No, it's not. Main manager. But just put it on the same game object. Save all information like what day we're on. Let's do that for now. Main manager script, that's convenient. Because it was for the old prototype scene, I think. It's storing stuff I'm not even going to use. In the unused namespace, I think I could do one. Okay, so save the day. Save the day. Hopefully, can get confusing. I can rename it if I have to, or rename the old one. Actually, yeah, let's rename the old one. Old at the start of the word. That's what I want to do. Expecting to have to save more info there, or at least get some errors. And now it's got the wrong campaign manager. Oh, what the hell? The script didn't appear. Errors? Don't know that type of error. Where did it go? Seems to have not been renamed, but actually been destroyed somewhere. Deleted. Let's see. Somewhere there. Okay, very well hidden. And it didn't rename this. MonoDevelop would have renamed that, I think. Come on. Just undo everything I just did. Yeah. Gotten a lot messier. Trying to keep it tidy, made it a lot messier. I'm gonna use source tree to discard those changes. To be enough. Reload this scene. Old prototype. I know that if I just deleted the script and deleted the scene, it'd be easier, but that's the day I'm gonna want to go back and look at it, so even though I don't use it right now for anything. Other than causing myself problems, apparently. If I delete it, that'll be the day I need it, so go back to work. New campaign manager, okay. Alright, so the day we have in here, I'm just gonna strip out. Gonna have a campaign manager. It'll be on the same game object, so I'm just gonna get it. So then everywhere it says day, I can just say campaign manager.day. Copy, paste, paste. I don't really need get day and set day to be in here anymore. That doesn't make much sense. It's fine. Errors now. Okay. So So we have our day. Put the script on here. Which one though? Gonna have to load it. This. Well, it's not a prefab. I haven't prefabbed the campaign save and load things, so at the moment I have two independent ones. Ultimately, we'll load from the main menu in the real game, so it won't be an issue. But at the moment, I just don't want to work off this menu every time I want to play the other scene, so I have the loading happening in. Save the scene and go back. Work today. That right now. That's okay. It's E3 week. There's other good stuff to watch. Not that many people watch any other week. Boring show. But occasionally the episode is rarely know before the episode if it's actually going to be a really good one, because while I might plan to get to something, things will happen and we don't get there. So it's usually at the end I name it, and some of the more interestingly named ones, like Hacking Fungus episode, they just generic or organically get a lot more views later than on the day. Okay, source. What else do we need to save then? Finally got one line in our script, but we're set up to use it. That's important. So we need to know sector we're in, which is what chapter we're in, like sector 1, sector 2. That'll be an integer. Default it to 1. And then everything I put in here has to be saved and loaded, so might as well do it all in one go. The idea I have at the moment is that while there are multiple pirate sectors within the story, there are multiple sectors within the solar system. We're only really concerned with one at a time. So where I say there's a dozen fighters left in the sector, it's probably hundreds more in the entire game remaining, but we don't move on to sector 2 till we're done with sector 1. So I don't really have to save. I can generate sector 2 after we finish with sector 1. So I think I can just recycle things like how many fighters we have and how many ships there are and how many bases they have, that kind of thing. I think that can just be recycled. So I don't need to be like, sector 1 has 4 fighters and sector 2 has 12. Just sort of say and it will refer to this sector. Default them as well, actually. It doesn't really matter what the default is. Oh, 400s. That is too many. I'm okay with 20. Seems good for now. Remember I said that we'd create an enemy base that creates +3 fighters a day. What do I do about that? Would they have only, one fighter base per zone, or could they have 2? Essentially, I need to save base types, so I might need to make a new class. And the bases will have to have, unlike the fighters, which don't have to have a location, the bases are going to have the physical location on this map, which will compile and play any moment. So let's just say right now that's a patrol mission, for example, which today you can do it, but be over there the next day. But once you know where a base is, it stays there until you killed it, because the base isn't going to move. So it needs kind of a location. It could be an XY location, but might be just more hassle than it's worth. That one has a... Oh yeah, because it's an image, it's actually got really awkward locations. It's pixel based instead of XY normal unity coordinates. So what I've been thinking of doing is having just preset places where it's okay for things to go, which would... Actually, this hexagon grid in the background, it's just a drawing, not actually a hex grid in any tile. Game doesn't know about it. But it could actually just loosely place coordinates based on that. It's not a hex-based game. Like it's not going to take you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves to get over there. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna be dull, so I'm not gonna bother right now. But just sort of manually put in like 50 different places that things could appear, because I don't want something to appear up here, or even worse, like off the screen. So I can't just be like, it's going to be within certain units of the center of the screen, because that means it'll only be within a circle of the center, and I won't get anything over here. I'm going to have to kind of give it a few... Well, actually, yeah, I don't have to do it within a circle. I could just say, give me a random number x between this and this, and a random number y between this and this. The reason I decided not to do that is because I have that there. Next thing it generates could be right there. And it looks not great. Again, you could add colliders to them and see if it intersects another image. Or I can just manually put them in and just let it pick from a list of manual OK locations. What I'm going to do about saving the base. I guess for right now I'm not going to care where the base is. But what it could wind up doing is being like a repair base there, like a bool for do they have a repair base, and a bool for do they have a fighter factory, and a bool for all of these ones, but probably not the best way to do it. Might be better to have a base type assigned to a number. So they have a new string array of well, no, not. Oh yeah, actually this could work. So not working right now. Oh no, sorry, string. I said string and then I made it a string array. I did not need to do that. Been making so many string arrays lately that kind of happened automatically. All right, so in this example, they would have 2 of base type 1 and 1 of base type 4. And then you just say, okay, well, base type 1 is always a fighter factory, and base type 4 is always a repair facility, and base type 3 is a listening station, but they don't have any of that here, so do it that way. And then when it comes to loading, you just split this string up according to the commas. So then we wind up with a string array that first entry is 1, second entry is 1, third entry is 4, and then go through the string array. That's why I was thinking of string. Even though I just need this part to be a string. And then when we're loading, just say, okay, load base type 1, next load base type 1, next load base type 4. I'd also need to put in where they are. Could also be variables on it, like how many would be variables on it, like how well defended it is, how many fighters it has guarding it and stuff. So, but let's start, I guess. I'll comment that in just for myself later. Okay, so we have those. I'm gonna have to save a huge amount of info. This is only scratching the surface. Just to do that. When we are saving the game, sorry, not lost it again. Oh yeah, I've minimized it. So when we're saving, save mission to home base. So when we're coming back to the carrier from a mission, what we do is we update the procedural characters data, which is player kills and stuff. That's a line I've added since the last day, if you don't recognize it. And then I save the collect. And what that does is just save. I guess collect info is going to save everything. But today it saves whether we're in mid-mission or not, and it saves all the procedural character data. Here's where we're going to add main data as well. I have to be careful as well about what I call it. I was going to say this info gets split up according to the word CAM, or is it day, mid, and prime? Yeah, it's exactly what it gets split up by. So when I load it, I load in that string. Then I split it according to the save file split parameter. Yeah, day, mid, proc. So I can add I was going to say add that, right? For campaign saving, but all the character info within here, it's meant to get split up into one thing. Where's the character script? Yeah, it's using all of these tags within. All of those are going to appear a dozen times within proc. So I can't use cam to split because I'm already using cam to split, and it'll split the code in the wrong place, or it'll split the save info in the wrong place. So I can't use any of these. So meant to be campaign specific info. So what do we not use? Call it sector. Sure, I'll call it sector. Actually, the longer they are, the better, I think, because I called it SEC, and then I wanted to save something that SEC, Square Enix Collective. If I wanted to save some Square Enix Collective info, I'd have already been splitting up SEC here, and then I'd create bugs. Or just break the whole thing, really. It wouldn't even be small like a bug, this would be a blocker. So we're gonna, the longer they are, the better. Square Enix Collective, we're on it. Go vote for us in the month of June 2017, if you're watching this live or soon. I think it's until the first week in July, actually, that we're on. We're 2.5 more weeks. We're in the middle. 15th today, so I think it's still July 3rd or 4th. Anyway, vote for it. Yeah, great. We're gonna save sector info. Where collect all info. Save file. Yes. Okay, so 3 is going to be plus stuff. Be the campaign manager. Quick void. Actually, when I said collect all info, I should really use the term get, because we're getting that info. But I'll start using it now. I didn't with the characters. Get sector info. Sorry. And actually, it's not a void; it's a string. So it returns a string. Set this that it couldn't be that long, or what? And what the error is there. In that, put in a comma. 0, 1, 2, 3. Seriously don't know what's... Pilot and see what... But... What's the problem there? It does not exist in the current context, but it exists in the line above it and the line above that. This is the current context that it's got a problem with. Oh. Small f. Is it? Sorry if you saw that and I didn't. Just a typo. Okay, so wild. Get a quick drink. Okay. We are now saving it. We're not loading it. I should load it. We're not collecting it. Basically just giving back nothing. But we are giving it back. So when I go to load, should probably do here is instead of having ID, first name, last name, I go... This is to do with a character, right? So I'm going to go character ID, character first name, character last name, character call sign, character bio, character appearance, character calls player, character campaign. Here. But it's okay in one place to have just words. Actually, no, it's not, because I don't want any generic words in my split parameters, because if I accidentally write the word day anywhere else, even with a colon, it'll give me back the wrong stuff, so... Save and load day. Name that into characters. I'm going to underscore it as well, because I can read it more easily then, and I don't have multiple places to change it. I was smart enough to make a public static string of these parameters so that I don't have to change it in 10 places when I change that there. Okay, so then on the campaign manager, I need another sector save info split parameters is going to be DM underscore. We're gonna have day. Sector. Well, I don't want to make it overly long, because each loading strings and stuff does take time per character, so I make it overly long, but I do want to make it 6 n fighters 2. Oh, what's going on here? Yeah, if I want to break up words like that, I can actually go enemy shuttles, enemy fighters. It doesn't really matter, as long as it doesn't crop up anywhere else in the save file. And something this specific won't. So. I'm going to do them in order, be less confusing. Over here, do a bit of copy paste. I'll have to change this, of course, but oh. Oh, I've just realized I'm going to be saving day in 2 different places, which I don't want to do. Sector info is going to hold the day, will it? No, I'm just going to leave it as it was. That'll hold the day, and then the sector info is going to be specifically sector. Okay, manager, I'm not going to. Saved separately. Oh. 0 is actually going to be sector. Fighters is going to be bases. don't need to say toString because it's already a string. Have a semicolon below. Aren't correct anymore. There were only comments on the other one just so I could keep track of what they were, but 0, 1, 2, 3. That's right at the moment. Now we're saving sector info and day info. We're not doing anything with the sector info yet, we're not loading it back. I wish the Restream chat would actually make noises when messages popped up. Maybe they do. My speakers have a tendency to go to sleep. Ah, yeah. Oh, I have to specifically give it a sound file for this. Okay, I'll figure that out later. Yeah, I often miss... Oh yeah, I remember why I didn't turn it on was because any notification sound I hear will come out on the stream as well. Like, you guys will hear it. Just not sure what's more annoying now anymore. Missing the messages for 15 minutes or one little blip. But if my speakers have gone to sleep, you'll actually hear it and I won't, and it'll be extra stupid. Oh. I'm gonna sit down again. I mean, I'm standing for an hour actually. Got the sit-stand desk, as you might know if you've watched recently. Electric motor, lower the desk, but meant to be up and down every half an hour to avoid sitting all day. Standing for an hour now, I'm starting to feel it in my back. Sit for a while until I feel it in my back. How are we doing now? Not parsing it yet, we're not loading it yet, but we are saving it correctly. I just want to make sure I haven't enabled it to save but not actually called. Yeah, so we're getting the sector. We're just not doing anything with it. So. Oh wait, this is parse saved character data. Not where I want to do that. Code campaign info, parse saved character. Save data 3 should be all our sector info at once. Print that out. See if it's actually working. I'm gonna have to generate a new campaign because there's a whole lot of new info and new arrangement there. Might well have forgotten to do something in introduced bugs. See. Been out of range there. feeling it's the last line we wrote, maybe. I'm double clicking it. Sorry, but it's not actually opening up, so. Line 633. Alright, campaign save and load line 182. Let's see. We have our 12 characters. It came in okay. Save data. Hey, here we go. Did save CM sector 1, CM enemy fighters 100, CM enemy shuttles 20, CM enemy base 114, so it's saved. The info, okay. Okay. Rated character. You know what? Everything looks fine. Except for the error and the fact that it didn't print what I wanted it. Where were we? Line 182. Out of range, so. A lot of things it could be in the one line. But that hasn't changed. I is character IDs.count. Still 12. The same as when it used to work. Plus J, and J is how many fields saved info. That hasn't. No idea. I is equal to plus A is equal to. See what point that fails at. And actually, I wonder if I continue, will it be okay, or is that problem only to do with creating a new game? Probably both. I think I'll still have the load twice. Home base. Loaded home base twice. Why? So I was, when I got equal to 2, 3 after 1, 4, so presumably 1, 5 is the problem. But it's a totally different number the second time. Shouldn't be loading twice though. Debugging. Generate campaign loaded. It's 1, 4. That was then a problem. Separated character info. Maybe 1 by 8. Or oh, actually, that would be 12, but this should only go up to 11, I think. Oh no. Sorry, there's 12 characters, so the numbers should be 0 to 11. But in terms of these fields, there's actually 88 fields. Separated character info. Okay, so that hasn't been separated. Yeah, that should be like 96 fields. That's okay. The character's data is okay, and the actual saved data is all okay. And I didn't change anything to do with how the characters load back in. But something seems to have gone wrong with it anyway. Could have been a thing where I've got separators doing 2 jobs now. Wouldn't be good. There's no duplicated things. Yeah, I'm after just making this safer, not worse. This I and still 8 fields. Stuff going on in the chat. Print every step out and see where it stops. Yeah, sorry, I said that a couple of minutes ago. Okay, it goes from 0 to 4, 5 elements only. Yeah. J is 1 too high, he thinks. That funk? Reckets? Or rekits? Reckets? Thanks for that. Yeah, I think J is 1 too high. Why did it go 1 too high? Because the information it's reading is no different to what it was doing 10 minutes ago or this morning. In the part that it's reading, and it worked fine then. It even worked. Yeah, it was doing it. When anything I played earlier, when I played the scene earlier to show you the memorial wall at the start of the episode, that loaded the character info, so, and there was no error then. A is 4 is a problem. J meant to represent again. Fields of saved info. Yeah, J should be able to go up to less than 8. Be able to go up to 7. I was 1, then it's 8. Or sorry, 1 times 8 is 8, plus J was equal to 4 is 12, so separated character info 12. And probably that doesn't exist, but it seems that it hasn't separated the character info out, I guess. Oh, now it has. Oh yeah, sorry, continue was loading it twice. That's the problem, but that feels like the kind of problem that might be fixed if we fix the first bug. So we're just going to go with new game. Yeah, so yeah, it's trying to load element 12, but there's only 11 elements, so you're right, J is 1 too high. Because this should already be 96 long, it shouldn't have been an error, but it hasn't separated that out yet. character IDs is fine. Procedure. For each string in procedural characters data, which I believe is correct. Yes. Well, there's 12 strings and oh, okay. I see what the problem is. It saved ID of FN. It's saving the old way. It didn't save these. It saved just ID colon, and so when I tried to separate it according to this, it didn't find this. Why did it save? We save again. Select character info. All procedural characters data. Character ID and here it is. So remember when I said I was smart enough to use a static string with all this stuff? Apparently not that smart. I'd set it up so that this couldn't happen, but didn't finish setting up. So where it reads ID, it should read instead what did I call it? I'm fully used to Visual Studio. Character save info split. The IntelliSense for Visual Studio I'm not loving. Tends to lose what you're typing more than Mono Develop ever did. So that's character ID is the first one there. The character ID plus. Okay, we're solving this. We don't screw it up right now. Name, root 1. 2 is the last name. The next one should be 9. 3. Bio is 5, yes. Or, sorry, it's 4, but it's the 5th thing. Element 4 plus the bio, yes. Appearance is going to be 5. 0, 1, 2, 5. Calls player is going to be 6. That's what the character calls player, so they don't always call you by your name. Someone will call you boss, someone will call you skipper. Okay. Player, yes. And the campaign specific info is the last one. So I thought I was so smart. And I'm not. Yeah. Just put it there to look at. So now it should be the case of whenever I rearrange these, it won't break anything. That's what I thought I had completed before, but evidently there was still that one section where I was writing it. Okay. Forgetting to refactor everything. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Okay, so we printed the information and it's all correct. So get rid of those prints now. Should be able to continue as well without it breaking. I just want to be sure. Shouldn't be loading twice. Nothing. Yeah. Where we're going to work off for now. So I want to say, leave that on the other screen for a minute. Save data 3 holds everything I want, and it's separated by vector save info parameters. Let's get a string array of sector info equals what was it? Save data 3. Split according to the campaign manager dot why is that a problem? I guess it just doesn't take one argument anymore. But I think by default you could just put in this part and it would show options.none by default. But it seems to not be doing it. Okay. Anyway, so then we'll have campaign manager.sector equals the first part, info 0. Oh, what's the problem there? Oh yeah, I have to parse that. Int 32 dot parse yeah, and then campaign manager dot spiders was the next part. Yeah. Have to parse that as well because it's an integer. Last thing, base types. Don't have to parse that. That is okay, so now we're loading it back. We're actually not changing it anywhere, but right, but from this We are saving it. Whenever we save now, which happens between loading scenes, this will all get saved and then it'll get loaded next time. So I'm gonna do I'm gonna have to make that public. The home base manager. When we look at the planning screen, plan next mission, the day text is just the text I have up the top, and it goes day, and it says what day. I'm gonna add to that for the moment. Backwards in. Forwards in. It's oh, sorry, daytext.text. One thing. Backwards in. Yeah, it's a backslash in. I couldn't remember there. Okay, so skip a line and go enemy fighters plus campaign save and load instance campaign manager dot enemy fighters. That's what we want. Right. So the only thing I'm not yet doing is when a fighter dies, to actually reduce that number. So where will I do that? It'll be on the health script. Yeah, I guess if it's attached to a character script, which I showed at the start of this, is like the portrait for your wingmen and stuff. So when you're set dead in the base class, then it sets your character to dead as well as the fighter, because separate things. Need logic for ejecting. Right now they all just die and the player just always ejects. Yeah, and then we get removed from the... So let's see. If... Okay, if my side is pirate, so if this is a pirate fighter, if we have that script in the scene, campaign save and load script equal to null. Don't have to write not equal to null, just, I don't know, it intimidated me into doing it because there was still a red squiggly line. It's there now. Plus with you watching, I just wanted to make it more clear. If it's there, then we're gonna go campaign, save and load, instance, enemy, oh yeah, manager, enemy fighters, minus, reduce the number of what we want. Of course, actually, I don't want to do that exactly. The shuttle shares this code, so I'll just take that code though, just put it somewhere else. It's a health fighter script. Is death, set dead in base class. Here, do that. Any other fighter? Find a good place to slot it in. I don't need to get component now because this script actually knows about it. If my AI script side is pirate. Take pirate fighters away from campaign number. Okay. Sorry, I had blocked the chat with the script I was looking at out of the corner of my eye. So yeah, no new. Thanks for the help though, Funk Ricketts. Or EHKIT said. I don't know, Ricketts. Alright, so now let me just save all file. I think it's gonna be okay. Okay, and I think this is just gonna work. We'll generate a new campaign, so it's all the messy stuff I had there is just gone. We're creating clean new code. Go into a mission. Oh, that's hard to read. Quickly fix something. Put a day text at the top. Alright, let's try that again. So, enemy fighters, 100. I'm aware that we're not making anything that looks pretty. But hopefully we're going to go into this mission, I'm going to kill 3 fighters. When I come out, we'll see day 1, we'll see 97 enemy fighters, and we'll see that I have 3 kills. Hopefully, and then we're gonna too hard when you spam missiles that don't yet have a lock-on time. Okay, so if I call for extraction, which happens instantly right now. Day 1, 97, 3 kills for me. So if I quit game and I come back to my main menu the next day, continue campaign. Day 1, 97, 3. It works. Where are we on this then? Kills from global enemy number. Sadly, that's the only thing we've actually done. Well, we save and load campaign. I can never spell campaign first time. Some enemy stats. So we've gone as far as take kills from global enemy number. Next thing we're gonna do, increase the global number with a factory. I could just do that now stupidly and just go like, hey, add +3 a day. Every time you see that it's a new day, add +3 fighters. That'd be very easy to do. All the save and load info is there, fine. All I have to do is write one line that says, when we load it up, all I'd have to do is say enemy fighters plus equals to 3. And that would fulfill that. But no, what I really want to do is make this base types thing mean something. So I'm going to do it the next day because that'll be more involved. I'm going to have to make a list of what numbers equate to what base types. Then load one into the scene. Also have a true or false statement for whether it's discovered by you yet or not, because it'll be there, but if you haven't discovered yet, you won't see it, and if you have discovered, it'll show up as a clickable mission icon. Campaign manager in this scene. Okay. So when the scene is loaded, it actually goes before awake. I don't think that'll help. See if I can get rid of that. Oh, I can. But before I set the instance, I've got campaign. Okay, I cleared an error just by moving this line where we get the associated campaign manager up above the instance. So still the same frame, just happened a few lines earlier. Okay, that was a freebie. Saying was, if we have discovered the base, it'll show up as a base icon. Then I'm going to have an associated list of icons. I have a scriptable object for icons. These are all on the radial orders. Are icons for the ships that I have up in Sol Ed here. And I guess I'll make a new section of icons for mission types and on this scriptable object, and then the base type will get loaded in, figure out what its icon is, only display it, and make the button interactable only if allowed, or if it's seen, like discovered. So yeah, I can easily make +3 fighters a day or plus anything a day, and it'll work right now, but that'll actually get us nowhere. So I'm just gonna make the next episode about persistent base creation. Actually, come to think of it, I don't know what we did today, like what I'm gonna name this episode, but anyway, it's not important. So this is the episode, a little 20 minutes shorter than normal, but I think we're 10 minutes over last day, so who cares? I'll be back on. We'll be back Monday. Yeah, nothing wrong with Monday. I'll be back Monday at 3 p.m. British summer time, or Irish time, as I prefer to say. We Irish prefer to say. We have Irish summertime. I saw someone write down, but that's IST, and that's Indian summertime already, and International Standard Time already. Anyway, I don't know if it's UTC +1 or it's BS. Look up current time in Dublin. That's what I'm at. All the time zones are confusing because we don't have GMT anymore. We still have it. I don't know. been replaced, and I don't understand. All I know is what my watch tells me. I don't have a watch. What my phone says. That's what time it is. Anyway, rambling like a madman. So back on Monday, we're going to make bases in this strategy layer. I probably won't have it done. Like, obviously in between episodes I work on stuff. Like, the way I've got this since last time. I might, yeah, probably do a bit of groundwork on it and then save guts of it for the episode. Hopefully the next day we'll be building there's not as a game asset, but as a strategic line of code with an icon. Several lines of code. So actually, we didn't knock any of these off today. We still have to create from random or saved. We're only creating random pilots right now, so still have to create from saved. I don't need to create character pool entries actually, because I used the character scripts. So those are all done. One not to have been launch mission, save campaign status, A, pilots. No, we still have to do the intel stuff we know about. So we need a list of what the enemy has and then what we know about it. So that's not there yet. Supplies, and I don't even know what etc. means right now. Save the mission scenario. No, that'll be right now. If you load into a mission, those fighters will appear. But if you quit the mission and load back into the mission, so we have to save the mission setup. Also, the mission's very boring. It's just 3 fighters attack. We have to build entire missions, but the fact that the mission basically works means I'm trying to just get the whole skeleton in place, and then we'll make the missions interesting. Multiple stages of a mission, yeah. Save the results. Skills, pilot deaths. I feel like we did that. We're not saving all possible results right now, but saving kills of you or your wingmen if they were to be in the mission. Pilot deaths, yes. And the enemy deaths, yes. So great, we got to tab 1 thing. Great, so thanks for watching. Vote for us on Square Enix Collective. No more there. A couple of people watching, but no, and nothing on Watch Me Work. So with that, see you Monday. Thanks very much. Bye bye.